Since we've spent so much time looking at lines and looking at their slopes, it seems reasonable that we would start to have a conceptual understanding of what slope is all about. Really, slope is a measurement of how steep a line is. We've seen some lines that don't do a whole lot of rising. They sort of slowly but surely meander on up. We've also seen lines with very steep slopes, slopes that rise very, very quickly as they go across our graph. In general, since slope measures how steep a line is, a line like this that does not go very fast is going to have a smaller slope than a line like this that is very steep. We could conclude, looking at these two lines, that the red slope would have to be greater than the blue slope, because it's a steeper line. We're going to apply that conceptual understanding to this question right here. What we have are two lines that have been graphed, and we've been given an equation for the purple line, what I've listed as line P. We've been told that this line has an equation of y equals 2x plus 5. Let's take our understanding of lines to figure out what those parts mean. 2 is a measurement of the slope of this line. So we know, even though this diagram doesn't have any numbers or grids or squares on it, we know that a line that is this steep has a slope that is equal to 2. Right away, we should be able to conclude that line F has a slope that is not as steep. Line F would have to have a slope that is smaller than the slope of line P. For that reason, I'm certain that line F doesn't have this equation. Think about it. Line P, which is steep, has a slope of 2. Line F, which is not as steep, it would have to have a smaller slope. It can't have a slope of 4. A slope of 4 would be rocketing up, and that can't be the case. Okay. Additionally, when we look at this equation for line P, we're also told that line P has a y-intercept of 5. So even though there's no grid on this diagram, I happen to know that this value right here has got to be 5, because this line has a slope of 2 going through a y-intercept of 5. Line F has a slope that's just a little bit less than that. All right, so let's examine answer choice B. Answer choice B proposes that line F could have the equation y equals 1/4 of x minus 3. Does that make any sense? Not really. Line F clearly has a positive y-intercept. In fact, it clearly has a positive y-intercept that's pretty close to 5. It could not possibly be this equation, because line F could not possibly have a y-intercept of -3. Alright, so that brings us to answer choices C and D. Both of these answer choices have a y-intercept of 3, which is a pretty reasonable guess. I would say if this y-intercept is 5, sure, this y-intercept could be about 3. It seems reasonable. So now the question just becomes which of these slopes is more reasonable. Does line F have a slope of positive 1/4? Or does line F have a slope of negative 1/4? Well, it's actually pretty obvious. If you had a guy on the left side of your paper who needed to walk towards the right, does he have to go uphill or downhill? He clearly has to go up. Line F has a positive slope. And for that reason, answer choice D is no good, and C is our winner. Take it all together. Think about the y-intercepts and the slopes. Line P had a y-intercept of 5, so line F, sure, it could have a y-intercept of 3. Furthermore, line P had a slope of 2. It was steeper than line F. It makes sense that line F could have a weaker slope, a smaller slope of 1/4. And for that reason, answer choice C is a reasonable equation to describe line F.